Well done, Warner Brothers. Well done. You have done it again with your fucking idiocy, your stupidity, and not to mention your never ending. And not to mention your never ending level of your fucking egos. Yes, I am here to talk about the I am here to talk about um I'm here to talk about the massive failure of Joker Folie A Deux. Now, this is not a review because I already reviewed the movie. So if you haven't seen my review, check it out. No, I am here to talk about just the massive shit show that and just the massive amount of damage that this is causing DC and Warner Brothers. Now, the idea of a sequel actually goes as far back as Joaquin Phoenix and Todd Phillips time together, working on the first movie. Apparently, I'm not shitting you guys. Believe me, I wish I was. I really wish I was, but I'm not shitting you. The idea of a sequel came to Joaquin Phoenix in a dream. He came up to Todd and said, and was like, "Hey," he came up to Todd and told him that he wasn't ready to leave the character of Arthur Fleck behind. So he came to Todd Phillips and was like, "Hey, I had a dream. I had a dream about Arthur telling jokes and singing on stage." And that is apparently where this fucking shit show of an idea, for a sequel came from. So, and of course there was also, the first movie, obviously made, like massive amounts of money. It was like the highest grossing, it was literally like the highest grossing comic book movie up until Deadpool and Deadpool and Wolverine came out. So um um so yeah but yeah, no, the first movie um just made, incredible amounts of money, and just, was a huge success, obviously. And and Warner Brothers, obviously being, the fucking morons that they are, obviously, very heavily pushed for a sequel. Now the first movie, I think I said this in my I think I talked about this in my Joker sequel talk, before the movie came out. I don't remember if it was that video or another one, but I'm pretty sure it was that one. The first movie, was very, very low budget. And that was because former DC Films head and all around piece of shit, Walter Hamada, kept lowering the movie's budget in an attempt to get the movie, scrapped, to get the movie canceled, because he didn't want the movie to get made. And but that obviously ended up working, in the movie's favor. The second movie, And now I know I've talked about this in my Superman, um, in my rants of James Gunn's Superman film, which I'm going to be, um, which I am. I'm also going to be talking about Gunn in this video because he has something to do with it. Um, um, the movie, um, Warner Brothers spent on this movie. Like I said, the first movie, was very, very low budget. The second movie, Warner Brothers literally spent like twice that amount on this pile of shit. And in Warner Brothers, um, Warner Brothers, Warner Brothers is in really, really deep shit right now. I know I've talked about this before. Their stocks are are continuing to plummet. They're in really, 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 really deep trouble right now, and even more so because of Joker 2, failing the way that it is. It made this movie, um, in its opening weekend, this movie has made less money than Morbius in the Marvels. Okay, and Morbius in its opening weekend made yeah. On its first day, Morbius made 17.3 million on its first day, including 5 million from Thursday preview screenings. Now, I know that might sound like a lot in I know that might, sound like a lot of money in your head, but trust me, it's not. That's not a lot of money at all. Um, and then um, yeah, and then it went on um, and then it went on to bet 39 million, finishing first finishing first at the box office. So overall um it did not make a lot of money at all. In fact, and and this is how this is this is how literally this is how fucking stupid these movie studios are. The movie bombed so I'm still talking about Morbius, by the way. um Morbius bombed so much that people literally started making um people literally started making, like memes, um just, people literally started posting memes for it, like all over like all over social media, and and stuff like that. And I shit you not, those memes actually led to Sony literally re-releasing the movie in theaters. I'm not literally, like, I'm not even joking. It led them to literally re-release the movie in theaters, and then it failed again. So, um, you know, and it failed again. Now this movie, um, um, but yeah, no, sorry, I'm getting off track. Back to Joker. Um, yeah, no, this movie, like I said, I already reviewed the movie, so I'm obviously not here to do a review. Um, but yeah, no, this movie bombed, or is bombing, just so much. And the way that Todd Phillips is handling it, is handling it is, is disgusting. Like, like everybody, like I think everybody here knows like what a huge hit the first movie was. And this sequel was really just made as this sequel was literally just made, like as a fuck you to the fans. And nothing pisses me off more than nothing pisses me off more than people not owning up to their own bullshit and saying, you know what, you're right, I was wrong, or or we were wrong, or whatever. And and it's like I'm so fucking tired of these fucking movie studios acting like, like when something sucks, it's the fans' fault. Fans, and I mean, I get it. Fans can be toxic, obviously. Um, one of the biggest examples being the controversy behind The Last of Us Part Two when that game came out, and people were sending Laura Bailey and her family death threats and stuff like that because of what happened um, over big because of how Joel was killed off and stuff like that. That that's that I'm not defending any of that. I am absolutely not saying that fans can't that fans can't be wrong, because fans can be wrong at times, given um it obviously depends on like the situation, and like how they're handling the backlash and stuff like that. Like I like stuff like that, like that's wrong. That's not like I'm not going to defend um those people. Who I am going to defend, though, is the massive pissed off fan base who loved people who loved the first movie, who thought um myself included, like I think the first movie is a masterpiece. um but I am going to defend anybody here who hated Joker 2, who hated um who hated like the bad script and the writing and the and the direction that the you know and the direction that that they took this movie in. And um just the all around um and just the all around like the all around bullshit, um just the all around level of bullshit that that Todd Phillips and um that Todd Phillips is putting out there, saying, he's literally saying, oh, like fuck the fans, who cares about the fans, and yada yada yada. And yeah, no, that's bullshit right there. It's like, if you don't have fans, nobody is gonna, nobody is nobody's going to be interested in what you're putting out. Fans, nobody is going to, like if you don't have a fan base, nobody's going to care. Nobody's going to care, like who you are or what you're putting out, or, or anything like that. You know, fans keep, you know, fans keep, fans keep the creator's work alive. fans are the reason why, um, fans are the reason why, like no matter what it is, if it's a video game, if it's a comic book, if it's a movie, if it's a book series, whatever, you know, fans are the reason why stuff like this happens. Fans are the kinds of people that keep this stuff alive. So if you are saying fuck the fans, you're basically saying, well, okay, my work doesn't matter. If you're saying the fans don't matter, then you might as well just not do it at all. And I you might as well just not do it at all. Like there's no, you know, fans, you know, fans give a creator's work purpose. They give it, um, fans are why the creators should care. Fans are not the enemy. The enemy is, fans, y- fans are not the enemy. If you really don't care about the fans and what they want, then like screw you. I mean, I don't know what else to say. And I know I said before that that Joker 2 is that Joker 2 was made for all the wrong reasons in my review, and it was this this sequel literally completely contradicts um the first movie. Like, Folie à completely destroys what made the first movie so good. And I'm always gonna love the first movie. The first movie's a masterpiece. But it yeah, and it doesn't make sense. And I already talked about this in my review, for the movie. There was no reason at all for this movie to get a sequel. And there was no reason at all for it. Joaquin Phoenix had the most bullshit idea in the book. There was obviously pressure from Warner Brothers, to make this steaming pile of horse shit because of the amount of money that that the first movie made. And which brings me to my next point that I'm about to make. Movie studios, yeah, movie studios literally don't give two shits about making money. And let me explain what I mean by that. Movie studios, obviously say, like corporate companies, like all these big time bullshit companies, Warner Brothers, Marvel, DC, Disney, they say they're all about the money, but they don't actually take the time to sit down and think about like what that actually entails. And then when they do have when they do have a huge success or whatever, literally nothing is learned from it. They don't take the time to sit down and think about, well, okay, we just had a huge success on our hands. What made it so successful? Why did people love this movie so much? And, literally the only lesson that they learn is when they have a huge hit. When they have a huge hit, whether it's Joker or, um, whether it's Joker or Lord of the Rings or, um, whatever it is, literally all they learn is, oh, this movie was a huge success. Oh, this movie was a huge success. Let's turn it into a fucking franchise. That's literally all that's learned out of, from stuff like this. And then they, and this is, and this is the kind of stuff that pisses me off. And this is the kind of stuff that pisses me off because they milk it and they milk it and they milk it until people are sick of it. Oh, it. And, I don't understand, I don't understand why it's always the fucking idiots who get put in charge of stuff like this. It's like, it's like put somebody in charge who gives a shit and who cares about what the fans want. But that's apparently too much to ask for these days. And like when I was, sitting, when I was watching like when I was watching, Joker 2, uh, like when I was watching, Joker 2, during the, during the musical segments, they weren't, Joaquin Phoenix and, Lady, Lady Gaga, who were, despite the movie being a pile of shit, were fantastic, by the way. But no, when they were singing, I'm thinking to myself, yeah. I mean, oh. But yeah, I mean, this, and, and another thing I wanted to bring up, another thing I wanted to get back to is James Gunn. Now, James Gunn, James Gunn has his own problems. I think he's a piece of shit. I think that guy is absolutely disgusting. He gets he puts his foot in his mouth. He just basically, he says whatever's on his mind and just basically doesn't give two shits about, like how people are going to react. But yeah, no, another thing that, went against this movie is, Todd Phillips apparently wanted nothing to do with, James Gunn. And I mean, don't get me wrong, I can't stand James Gunn. I think, I think he's disgusting. So, so part of me doesn't blame, Todd Phillips for not wanting, anything to do with him. However, um, however, apparently, um, apparently Gunn gave, Todd Phillips notes, about, like he wanted for the, like what he wanted for the movie. And Phillips just, and Todd Phillips was just basically like, yeah. And, and just, completely ignored, Gunn's notes and just wanted nothing to do with him. Um, and, and like I said, I mean, part of me understands that because like I said, part of me, like I said, I think, he's got, his own issues and his own problems, um, everything is basically the future of DC films now is riding on James Gunn's Superman. And I know if you guys have watched my if you guys, have watched my videos, um because I did quite a few of them. I think I did like 3 or 4 of them. If you guys watched my videos on, talking about, Gun Superman and stuff like that, um that is a movie that I'm not very confident in at all, and I really think it's gonna bomb. Um, I really think that it's gonna bomb, and when it and honestly, when it does bomb, I think it's gonna be the last straw for DC films. Like if this bombs, um, like if this bombs, that's gonna be it. That's going to be it for them, because they're in so much trouble right now, money wise, and because Warner Brothers is just in, so much trouble right now. Their stocks are, like I said before, are plummeting. And they don't, they don't care about making money. They, you know, they just, they, you know, they just, they don't, um, like I said, like they don't fucking learn anything, but they just keep making, that they just keep making, fuck up after fuck up and expecting, different results. I mean, and, it's like the old saying goes, it's only a failure if you don't learn anything. And that's just it. And that's just it. They fail time and time again, and they don't learn anything. And that's a, and that's, and that's a special kind of fucking moron right there. Right there. I mean, that's, that really is just a special kind of fucking moron right there. Um, but that's what, but that's the kind of people that run, these bullshit companies. That those are the kinds of people that run Marvel, that run DC, that run, that run, that run Warner Brothers. I mean, and it's really, they treat it like it's rocket science, and it's not. It's really not. Like all you need to do is just sit, you know, all you need to do is just, it's just take the time to, to really think about, um, all you need to do is just really take the time and, and think about, like why people enjoy these things and why people get excited about them and why, um, and why, why people, love this stuff so much. It's because of, it's because of the writing, it's because of the quality, it's because of, um, it's because of the writing, the quality, the acting, the, just the overall quality of, um, just the overall quality, of the product, whatever it is. And, it's like all you need, is, all you really need is a group of people, who know what they're doing. Now, I mean, I'm obviously not saying, that there's not going to be a miss every now and then, but, Um, because obviously, even the best of us, make, even the best of us, make mistakes and have a miss every now and then. But in the case of Marvel, in the case of um in the case of Marvel, in the case of DC, in the case of Warner Brothers, they've had a shit ton of them lately. Look at the Flash. Look at look at the Flash movie. They pulled it out of theaters after like a week. You know, they pulled it they pulled it from theaters after like the first week, and that made and I think that was actually considered like the biggest um I think that was actually I think that was actually considered like the biggest bomb that Warner Brothers has ever had. I mean, I think Joker might have I think Joker Folie Deluxe actually might have beaten it, but before this came out, yeah, no, The Flash was considered like, like the biggest bomb in Warner Brothers history, from what I heard. Um, but if I'm wrong, please correct me on that. Um, but yeah, no, this is, I mean, this, there's just there's no reason at all, for this bullshit to keep happening, and you know, um, and the fact that it does, it just, the fact that it keeps happening, and the fact that and the fact that they keep doing this, it just shows you, it really, really shows you just, the kinds of people that they have, running this company and running this shit show. Um, that it's become, because and I can say this for a fact. Now, I think I talked about this before in one of my videos. Whenever I do a video like this, I do a fair amount of research um, before I put out, a video like this. So, like, um, I usually pay attention to all of the major, um, I usually pay attention to all of the major, inside sources who have gotten a fair amount of stuff right in the past. Um, so I'm not just going by some sort of, some sort of, fake news source, like, like We Got This Covered, um, Screen Rant is, yeah, Screen Rant is, like hit or miss. Um, but yeah, no, like stuff like that. Stuff like that. That's not where I get my information from. Um, um, but yeah, no, this is just, that, but the fact that this keeps happening, um, the fact that this keeps happening, and the fact that they keep doing this, it's killing, it's killing so many things these days, and people are, like, I'm not, yeah, and like, I know I'm not the only one who feels this way. There are plenty of people out there who, um, there are plenty of other YouTubers out there, who make, videos about, about this kind of stuff, um, too, like Aaron Fisher, Thinking Critical, um, um, Mr. H Reviews, who is actually one of the sources that I pay attention to. Yellow Flash is another one. Um, there are so many, um, there are so many sources out there, that that make videos on this kind of stuff that feel the same way, that feel the same way that I do. Um, and and I support them 110% because they are, um, because they are people who are spreading the word and putting stuff, um, and putting stuff out there, that needs to be out there, that people, that I feel is really, really important. And it should be out there, for people to see. Um, but yeah, no, this is, um, yeah, no, this movie, I really wouldn't be surprised if I really wouldn't be surprised if they pulled it from theaters soon and announced the streaming date. Um, and announced the streaming date. They did the same thing with The Crow. The Crow bombed big time, and they pulled that out of theaters. I think. When did it? When did it come to theaters? August. So, yeah. So I want to say like, I think maybe like, I want to say like maybe like 2 weeks after the movie came out, they pulled it from theaters. Um, because again, it wasn't making any money, and it definitely wasn't a good movie. Um, and originally I was really, really looking forward to that movie originally. I know I made a video about it some time ago saying, how much I was looking forward to it, but surprise, surprise, they fucked that up too. Um, but yeah, no, the fact that, yeah, no, it just, and part of me, it makes, part of it just, um, and, it just, it makes a huge part of me just really, really sad that it keeps, that it keeps happening, and that that it keeps happening, and that it, and that, this is the way, um, and that, and that this is the way that these kinds of, these kinds of companies are run. Um, because, they're definitely not doing themselves any favors by, by pulling this kind of shit. Um, and they're only hurting themselves, and they only have themselves, they only have themselves to blame. But of course, they're going to blame anyone else but themselves. Right now, Warner Brothers is trying to blame Todd Phillips for the failure of Joker 2, and trying to, they're trying to blame Todd Phillips by saying, oh, he ignored, James Gunn's notes. He should have listened to Gunn, and yada, yada, yada. And, um, which is obviously horse shit. I mean, that's just, in fact, I remember hearing that it was actually Warner Brothers, Discovery insiders who first, um, who first reported on James Gunn's DCU being a mess. So, take that. So, take that, however you will. But that's, and I know I know I talked about that in my, um, in my Superman, talk videos about his movie. Um, but yeah, no, there's no excuse in the book, for this kind of bullshit to be happening. Um, but again, it's the kinds of, these are the kinds of people that we have, running these companies, unfortunately. And the only way that they're going to learn is if they keep losing, money until they finally realize, you know what, we don't want to lose money anymore. Let's go back to telling, good stories, that people will enjoy and care about. Um, but yeah, I mean, it, that's the way it is, unfortunately. So yeah, um, so I guess I will see you guys in the next video. Talk to you later.